I'm Commander Shepard, and This Week in Geek is my favorite podcast on the Citadel.
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to ThisWeekInGeek.net's The Prototype. I'm your host, still living in Raccoon City. That's right, I am Mike the Birdman, but I'm not alone as I trek through this mostly uncertain future, and that's okay to make a few jokes because we need a few moments of levity as my roommate gives my cat the finger. It's just how we roll here at the Twig Studios, but I am not alone. I am joined with my compatriot in crime,
Alex the Producer.
That's right. So last week on the show, we talked about the future of E3 going forward and also talked an extensive deep dive into the Xbox Series X, which hopefully is still coming later on this year. I'm sure discussions are still happening at Microsoft. But now that we have all this time in self-isolation, well, you can't touch yourself all day. Maybe you can. What are you going to be doing with your time? And that means it's time to go back through our gaming back catalog. But that also means maybe you're reading a book. Maybe you're watching a series of movies you never watched before. Maybe it's a TV show. But for me and Alex, it's a lot of gaming we didn't get a chance to play during the year. So this is a nice chance for us to kind of catch up on things, catch our breath for a few minutes before the next big deluge of releases comes out. Although I wonder how many of these will eventually get pushed back because of current things, but hey, there's always digital. So with that in mind, a lot of big releases are still coming out digital, so you don't got to worry about that. This past week we had the release of Animal Crossing New Horizons. I think that's what it was called. We also had Doom Eternal, and that's a weird fan base crossover I never knew that I needed in my life. Some really cute artwork of that with Isabella with a shotgun or the Doom guy raising a village. So that's kind of fun.
You know what I would like to see? I don't think anybody's done it. I'd like to see Tom Nook with the BFG.
That would be kind of fun. That I would definitely be appreciative of. So over the course of the last 2 weeks, it's a good time to catch up on gaming. And myself, I bought this game way back at launch, so all the way back in November of last year, and I was really excited to get it, and that's Electronic Arts' Jedi Fallen Order, which was Respawn Entertainment's take on the Star Wars lore, and it was supposed to be a Souls-like experience with the Star Wars license. And I'm a couple of hours into it. I got the double-bladed lightsaber. I'm on the third planet now. I'm fighting stormtroopers fairly consistently now. I've fought some other really weird creatures. I just got my second round of force powers, and I'm having a pretty good time with it. I'm playing it on stupid mode, which is fine because I just want to walk through it. I just want to see the story. I love Star Wars. I don't want to be going, oh, well, damn, I died. Now to replay the same section until I come back to the same enemy that killed me, which is annoying. I'm having fun with it. It's a really good game. The guy who played the Joker on Gotham is the lead character as Cal Kestis, which is kind of nice. There's a bunch of other character actors from Hollywood playing a lot of smaller roles. I know who the big bad guy is, Second Sister, because she had a Star Wars Black Series figure that came out when the game was super hot. I kind of wish I bought that figure when I had the chance because her character model looks really freaking cool. And that's kind of the start. And I'm hoping I can beat that game during the big part of this quarantine before the next big rush of games hits me with Resident Evil 3, with Final Fantasy 7, Persona 5's coming out this week. What about you, Alex? Where has some of your quarantine gone?
Before we get into gaming, which is the meat and potatoes, like I'm trying to catch up on some TV shows that I've wanted to catch up on. You should catch up on the Orville. This is the perfect time to watch a few episodes in between gaming sessions. But as far as gaming goes, I'm actually working or have completed the playthrough of Persona 5 Royal, because we have a copy for review that we got early. I've also been sort of catching up on the little things that are here and there that I also had, like a couple indie titles that are nothing major. But what I really want to get into playing is Persona 3. I've got the Vita/PlayStation TV. I have the game purchased digitally that works on there. I've never played Persona 3. It was on the PS2, and then it was on the PSP. And I never played those ones. I played Persona 4 Golden on the Vita, and that's what got me into the franchise. But 3 is where like a lot of these ideas and the format of the games were formed. 1 and 2 were tactical RPGs and traditional Japanese harder ones. A lot of censorship in there. For instance, like characters changed races because they thought that releasing it here would be like they wanted to add diversity, so they made like some Asian characters colored their skin black to make them black people. There's a lot of stuff that they did in the 90s that wouldn't fly today.
Oh God.
That we haven't really had a proper remaster or proper translation, even in the version that came on like the portable the micro consoles, like the PS1 Classic. So it would be nice if they were to release Persona 1 and 2 again, or in a new version. But Persona 3 is where the real, series really got, into its stride. So I want to play that. I also have been wanting to and started playing through the Mana series with like the remastered edition on PS4 of the original like Final Fantasy Adventure, which was the renamed Mana, or like Secret of Mana series. That's the first one. And then I also have the Secret of Mana remaster, which is on the PS4 that I want to play through to get prepped for when Trials of Mana comes out in soon. So I want to play those. And then I want to do, like I did a as quickly as possible playthrough of Trails of Cold Steel 3 when I got a review copy of that, which is something that you might be interested in because it basically follows the Persona template. You have social links and characters to build up. The storyline is steampunk meets Xenogears. Like they discover ancient technology, but they live in a world that is similar to 1920s or 1930s, where Europe is the idea. Like there's steam locomotives, cars are new. Like having a car is like a new thing.
So it's like Depression era Mecca.
Depression era Mecca with radio is the form of mass communication in it. You're a boy going to a military academy, like a high school, especially trained in military stuff, where you're being trained to use it's like Persona, I guess, but like you're being trained to use ancient power / technology, and you discover a giant mecha that you can control later on in the game, in the first one. And it takes place during a Cold War between 3 warring countries. The Legend of Heroes series, which is based on it, has a few different, a few different series that take place. Like there's Trails in the Sky, which is the first one that was translated here. They had like the original games came out on like the PSP back in the day, and they were really poorly translated. And they've been reworked since, but the two main series that have gotten really popular here is Trails in the Sky, which is a traditional like tactical RPG, like turn-based, sprites that look like Super Nintendo / PS1 era. And there's 3 of those titles, or 3 or 4 of them released here, and those all tell the story of one nation and the group of students there. Trails of Cold Steel, which is based on instead of Trails in the Sky is like plane travel and airship travel. This one's based on a country that is more militaristic, but uses trains for their main mode of transportation, and they're technically in a Cold War with the people from the first game series. So you can play them all individually, but if you play the whole series, they give you a larger picture of the world. And there's an organization called Ouroboros, which is like an underground secret society, like the Illuminati, that is pulling the strings, trying to set off war between all these multiple countries. It is like Game of Thrones levels of lore and world building built in. And each game has between 40 and 80 hours of gameplay, just like Persona. And the Trails of Cold Steel series literally play like chapters. Like you end the first game, the second game starts up right where you left off. You end the second game, third game starts off right where that left off, and so on and so forth. All the while, the game is similar to Persona, where it works on a day-by-day school schedule. You do things in school, you learn whatever, go and do missions in a dungeon, and you build your social links, do fishing, do a whole bunch of extra mini games that can build things up, and you learn about the lore of the world. It is really like Xenogears meets Persona meets steampunk.
Sounds like something I might be into.
Yeah, I'll send you a video or two to give you like a breakdown of it. Very similar. It was the first two games were like the last RPGs released on the PS3. The very last being Persona was Persona 5. But I hold them in the same regard as I hold Persona. So that's my back catalog of stuff I really want to get through.
I'm also kind of looking through like other things. Like, as you guys know, I'm an active Call of Duty player. Call of Duty released Warzone, would it be about 2 weeks ago as of this recording. And I really like playing that. It's their version of Battle Royale. It's free to play. There is no monetization in it unless you want to buy like an operator skin or you want to support your favorite esports team. And that's fine. That's pretty cool. I don't do as well in it as I would like. The first time it came out, I finished in the top 10. Other times I get my ass kicked. I usually place around 25. It just means I need to work harder, think smarter. So I'm looking to maybe go back and replay some older games that I never did quite finish. One game I really enjoyed, not a lot of people did, and I might go back and finish it, was Battlefield Hardline. That's the one where you played a cop. And one mechanic in it that I liked is that you could play the entire game arresting people. If you are super smart, you could sneak up behind them and arrest them so you could handcuff them. And I went through one playthrough where I arrested like 90% of the bad guys in the entire game. And that was just a lot of fun. So I might actually, another game I want to beat, since I'm on like a huge Star Wars kick right now, is I know you can rip through the campaign for Star Wars Battlefront 2 pretty fast. And Star Wars Battlefront 2 has come a long way since its launch a couple years ago. They've added in new heroes, new mechanics. They've taken out the bullshit loot box system, which was controversial and arguably shouldn't have been there in the first place. I'd love to go back and finish Titanfall 2 because that had a fantastic campaign. And I got 3/4 through it when I was in the hospital the first time back in 2017, but I just never got around to finishing it. I know you and I have talked for literally like a year at this point. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of free time this year where maybe we should do our Halo playthrough.
That was what I was saying. Maybe we could do Halo 1 at least during this period.
Yeah, because as long as you play it on normal and let me take lead, because I know you're not a shooter guy.
You don't want to play it on easy with me because I'm terrible.
Yeah, like it's truthfully it's a lot of just thinking ahead and planning out your encounters. You don't need super twitch reactions. Basically just enemies do more damage and your shields go down quicker. So you got to think smart about it. Trying to think of like I want to finish games that I got 3/4 of the way through and never finished. Like Far Cry 5. I want the bad ending where everything goes to hell. So maybe I want to replay that again because I had a really buffed out like loadout in that game. And that was a lot of fun. I never did play New Dawn because I never played that for review, but you did. Because sometimes on the show, we get so many games for review, you have to run through them. And sometimes you get to...
You can't really 100% them unless you you can sometimes. Like, for instance, if, an RPG comes out during essentially a dead month, you can power through them. Like, I'll probably get about 99 to 100% done in Persona. But if it's a game that comes out when you were just given 2 or 3 other titles to review, it becomes more of a let's do the mainstream, complete it, do some extra side missions, then come back to it later sort of deal.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's hard because we usually get a chance to roll credits on most of these things, or otherwise we get as much information as we can to form a proper opinion, right?
Like bare minimum we'll get main story done, and we'll usually mention that in the review, like we didn't do like the spend
optional side mission,
spend 100 hours online to get the trophy that gives you 100 hours online trophy or something.
Yeah, exactly. So going back through this, it's a chance to go back and replay old things, or if we do want to buff out our trophy lists, we can play on our main accounts, because I have several accounts. Like one I play for review, one I play online, so I can play with friends. And I prefer just that because this way it's my personal life. You know what I mean? Like I've got my personal accounts and my private accounts, and it's just, it's just easier this way.
For me, I don't play. I'm more of the single player gamer than you are. So when I play online, I do play under my own one, but I do have certain separate accounts for some things, because occasionally, and it's not common, but occasionally you might get a review title where the stipulation for playing it is it's an account that's not actively online. So
yes, that happens more often than people realize.
Yeah, like you can look at it at a non-disclosure agreement where they're like, okay, so this is an account that doesn't touch the internet or doesn't touch social, and just to be safe, so that like a system, even if you have all the settings off, a system update could happen where, hey, it's magically reconnected with your Facebook account, and you start publishing like trophy screenshots and you didn't even know it. So just to be safe, you might want to create a different account that has no connection to an online presence.
Yeah. As you mentioned, you were mentioning going through television shows and whatnot. One of the other things I'm going through is I'm kind of using this opportunity to reconnect with certain fandoms, and I'm going through Doctor Who. I'm just starting that this week with my life. We're starting back with Eccleston in 2005, and we'll end it with the end of the Jodie Whittaker run. Well, her current run anyway, and we'll see what happens with that. So that's going to take us a few months anyway, because we'll watch 2 episodes a day, because she can't take too much sci-fi, but that's fine. So,
but it is more it's more fantasy based than pure hardcore sci-fi. So there's more likely to be funny or weird things that she might enjoy versus like, could you imagine if you said, Blair, sit down, we're going to watch something. It's a family thing. You have to watch because we need to bond over it. And she's like, okay, honey, I'd love to. What is it? And then all she hears is, da 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 da, and it's 170 episodes of Voyager. and then all I would receive is a text message saying Blair had to go to the hospital because she had to escape for some reason,
or Mike is dead now.
It's response. You know how we were going to have a planned visit in a few weeks? Can't, because I beat up Michael so bad it's going to take that long for him to recover.
I mean,
you remember when you did the watch through of that like several years ago, how mad she was getting at that? Stop it! And every time when I first met you in person, we were coming over, you'd pop on like an episode in the background, and she'd be like, "Stop with that show!"
I'm like, this is what I get for your bullshit ER. So yeah, fuck ER.
She'd be like, "Fuck Voyage." You'd be like, "Fuck job shows." That's what, as you refer, for anybody who doesn't know, Michael's idea of a job show is any show that takes place at a job.
Well, I just hate it. Like,
but you do like you do like Law and Order SVU, which is a little different because it's when it's ripped from the headlines, even though they're like, it doesn't take place in the real world. Yeah, it's ripped from the headlines. You can tell. It's a different thing. Plus, when a show has been on,
a million years,
21 years, and is consistently good, then yeah,
exactly. But back to this. I don't know. I mean, there are some older games. I wish I still had an Xbox 360 and a PS3 to play. But then again, playing them would be so hard right now, and especially with the whole social isolation right now. I mean, hell, there should be shit tons of people online. I mean, this is a story we were meant to cover on on Twig last week, but we didn't get a chance to. There was like 16 million people or some ridiculous number playing on Steam last week.
20 million people actively on, 6 million people playing games, but 20 million people logged in at the same time. The largest number in their history. They didn't release what it was previously, but for them to announce that, my guess is it was somewhere regularly in the 10 to 12 million logged in, and the talk was they had to implement larger servers to manage it, like, because you know how it's all cloud based and on the fly now. The same with Xbox. The Xbox servers went down 2 or 3 times in the last week due to congestion. And not because like, oh, we don't have physical server space, but because Microsoft wasn't expecting it. They didn't put the Azure system load balanced on like they should have. And now moving forward for the next few weeks, they're doubling their Blade server support. So basically, they're absorbing the cost of twice the cost of running their usual servers just to cover people being isolated at home for a month or 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time to be a PC gamer. I'm actually surprised other companies aren't running sales yet, but give it time. As of this recording, I'm sure there'll be more digital sales happening. I know some RPG companies are giving away games, and one of the things you're supposed to do during this whole self-isolation thing is practice social distancing. And that means you can't always get together with your D&D group or your gamer group, but you can still play online. I mean, me and Alex record over Discord. Any actual tabletop role playing, I haven't had a face-to-face session in over getting on 2 years now. So it's wait a second. It's been over a year since Shadowrun. With you, me, and Tristan.
The 3 of us together during Shadowrun was last spring / beginning of summer, and that is part of the lost episodes that will come out later. Did we do a one-off after that? Is that when we
no.
Was it last summer that No, it was the summer before. Yeah, the summer before is when I ran the dice game with you. Did we play anything else in person since then?
No.
So
it's been
for you. It's been probably 10 months.
I crave human contact, and I'm not allowed to have it.
8 to 10 months. But we have played obviously games since then, just not face to face.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that you people. What do you mean, you people?
Oh boy, here we go, Don Cherry.
That you guys should be taking a look at. I mean, maybe go back and revisit a game that has multiple decision points, stuff that you haven't done before. Hell, this is a great time to go through the original Mass Effect trilogy. Make decisions you've never seen before.
This would be a great time to play Detroit Become Human.
Yes, exactly. Like any of those cinematic games, make different choices, see what happens. Because I would love to go through that game and have everybody survive. And I came very close to doing it, except my one girl who was the house cleaning robot ended up at the garbage dump, but I saved the little girl. So it worked out in the end, but I couldn't save everybody. And I tried. That game was awesome.
Yeah, and misunderstood. Like they had a lot of bad press about their studio that was 50-50. Part of it was unfounded, and part of it was they didn't handle themselves with the best decorum. But all in all, it still ended up being a good game.
Yeah, like it's stuff that like revisit old franchises. Like now is a great time, and
now is probably a good time for people to get back into WoW if you were an old WoW player.
Yeah, like
you want something to sink your game time into. That's something that's good. Or what's actually really good? I think it's this week. I got an email from EB Games saying what the new releases are. This week, the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one bundle comes out $50 Canadian, I think 40 American. 50 or 60, yeah, 50 Canadian. And you know what you get? You get Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 bundle, the 2.8 bundle, the the PS4 remaster, and Kingdom Hearts 3 all in one for $50. You want 300 hours of gameplay to get absorbed into a magical world of Disney and Square? That's how you can sink your next 2-3 weeks if you really want to pay $50 for something.
That wouldn't be a terrible idea, actually. We should, man, I kind of want that, but they're not going to give it to us.
Because it's basically they just threw
old content
into the discs. There wasn't an option. I double checked, but that does mean that it's a killer deal. You should check out to see if they're going to run a digital sale on it.
Yeah, because like more publishers could be taking advantage of this right now, and like there's so much you can do. I mean, one game I would recommend you play right now, and I've recommended it before in the past, was the BattleTech game from Harebrained Schemes. I think that was the people who did it. I'm almost certain. And then there was the MechWarrior 5 from who was it? Piranha Games, I think it was. They're a development studio in Vancouver. They developed the newest MechWarrior game, and that game is pretty fun. And that's exclusive to the Epic Games Store. So there's a lot to play right now. And I really recommend you just take a chance on something right now. If you have the financial means to do so, experiment.
Well,
you might find something you like.
And if not, a lot of these publishers, there's things like Humble Bundle, there's pay as you want or pay whatever you can afford sort of deals. A lot of the tabletop gaming, like you said, they're actually offering free services for 2 weeks to a month for the digital tabletop experience. So basically, it's like a Skype session that pops up on the screen, but you each get your own picture on the screen where you can see each other on webcam. And then the center of the screen is like a themed GM table with a dice roller and everything. And they're including that for free for some people. There's a few different services that I think it's Drive-Thru-RPG is offering a lot of their indie published games for pay what you want or pay what you can afford. So you can get, if you really are strapped for cash for $1 or $2, you could get a few interesting books and experiences you can play with friends online.
Yeah, so there's no reason for you not to go without. Obviously, this is a good time, and this should just kind of go without saying. Our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, brought this up. He's like, we have never been more connected than we are now. So pick up a phone, use FaceTime. We have Discord, use Reddit. Reddit right now is so active. Like I'm hanging out in subreddits that I never thought I would, just because I'm looking for conversation and I'm finding it. I'm finding people. Actually, one heartwarming story out of Reddit is I actually met a pretty good person out of it. Her name is Karen, and she became a Reddit friend of mine through through a Star Trek exchange that I did with her. And I sent her a Lieutenant Worf door poster. I sent her a Star Trek Bluetooth speaker, which was the Enterprise D, an Enterprise D original Playmates toy from the 1990s. And I think I sent her something else. Oh, and a Type 2 phaser. But I also had Steve Megatron Phillips put together a dedication plaque for her and a write-up from Admiral Janeway congratulating her on her new command. And it turns out the name of her ship is the name of her dog, the Murphy. And she told me of the story. And from when we started talking in late February to current day, we've exchanged over 300 emails. That's a new.
It's like
that's a pen pal.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like the pen pal. Like, was it 5th or 6th grade where they wanted us to? Was it ours? I think was Italy was what we used in Ontario for most of our pen pals.
Yep, same here.
Same deal, only online.
Yeah, so maybe this is a time to make a new friend. I mean, even if you can't meet them face to face, not everybody out there on social media is an asshole. Twitter being a cesspool. Sometimes you meet some good people. Take this time to explore new YouTube channels. One channel I've been really into is a guy called the Potter Collector, and he's a Harry Potter nerd. And he has this guy has 1,700 books of Harry Potter in every conceivable language, and he has all these really rare editions, signed editions, and just some stuff I never even knew existed. Like, you should see Harry Potter in Braille. It's really cool. and just all this other cool things. He also has these like statues that were produced from the Warner Brothers studio store. He has one of only 25 in the world, and one is a prototype that was never made, and it's uncolored. So that's literally from the sculptor, and then it somehow got to him. So that's pretty neat. So take this chance during the self-quarantine to explore, self-improve. It doesn't have to be, oh God. I mean, obviously you still have to worry about paying rent and everything else. But if you have the financial means, and if you're able to, take this time to grow, either by playing your back catalog, exploring new areas of the internet, maybe reading a book series you haven't checked out yet, or going back and rereading a classic. This doesn't have to be all doom. This doesn't have to turn into The Fucking Stand, though the media would have you believe it's so, and they're right to take it serious. And for example, I have a family member who works frontline healthcare right now, and she has told me it's serious, take it very serious, but live your life. So with that being said, as for games I'm going to recommend you check out during this time, I'm going to recommend Persona 5 Royal, because that will be out very, very, very soon. If not, just play Persona 5 if that's not an option for you. Jedi Fallen Order is a wonderful Star Wars game. Totally recommended. Titanfall 2 is stupid cheap everywhere you look. And the multiplayer for that game is still fairly active because it was a PlayStation Plus game a few months ago. So people are still playing it. And finally, you can never go wrong with Skyrim, because there's always something to do. Alex, what about you?
If you're looking to dip your toes into a new franchise that will probably engross you if you like RPGs, would go with the Trails of Cold Steel series I was talking about. The first two games have remastered versions that we reviewed on the show that came out in the last year. They retail for basically half of retail cost, and they have quality of life upgrades like fast forward options, as well as just options to basically level up quicker, things that make you move around faster in the game. You can even avoid encounters altogether if you don't want to battle. There's lots of things you can do there, and you'll be able to get both of them for less than $100, which is a good deal for the first two games. The third game is a fairly new release, but dip your toes maybe. Pokemon, if you haven't played it, probably worth picking up. Anything that's an RPG is going to give you a lot of value out of it, even if you're not like an online gamer. But if you are an online gamer, something that's really going to keep your interest, something like a WoW or something, Call of Duty, I think at this point you either like it or you don't.
I mean, ultimately it's something different than like Fortnite now.
Yeah, and I mean, and
it's free, so you can't bitch.
Pick up something that's narrative is what I can say. Something that's going to let you expand your mind, your horizons. RPGs are great for that. Same with strategy titles, like you had mentioned. And then maybe pick up a show to watch in between. I would say right into Birdman and tell him he's got to watch the Orville. Because it's not a long watch, and I think it touches all your bases. Funny, Star Trek-y, and short. Not too many episodes.
So, all right. So that's going to do it for this edition of The Prototype. We'll try and do a few more in the month of April because we're not sure how long this is going to last. So maybe we'll just talk about some more things. So as always, thank you for joining us here on ThisWeekInGeek.net. We always appreciate your feedback. You can reach us on Twitter at ThisWeekInGeek, or you can reach our email, which is feedback@ThisWeekInGeek.net. So until next time, we have been
Alex the Producer.
I've been Mike the Birdman Dodson. Live free or die hard. And as my friend Jackie Bam Bam might say, be cool, be kind, be careful. We'll catch you next time right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.